Hello, I'm Blaze and welcome back to Warframe. Today we're going to be looking at a new weapon that is somewhat related to the one I did for my first ever Warframe video, the thrown remote detonated explosive Talons. Fittingly enough, the Talons are, like the castanas, clan research weapons and will require having the castanas researched first. After they have been researched, their blueprint will cost 15,000 credits, and the actual manufacturing cost in the foundry will run you a further 20,000 credits, 2 control modules, 1,500 ferrite, 1,200 oxium, and 1 fully built forma with a mastery rank requirement of 5. Alternatively, if you would rather just get them and be done with it, you can get them in the market for 175 platinum, complete with their own weapon slot and a pre-installed catalyst. The Talons share many similarities with the castanas, with the same fire rate, reload time, base damage value, accuracy rating, critical chance, critical damage multiplier, and status chance. The exact values for which are as follows: 100 base damage composed entirely of blast damage, a 5.0 rounds per second fire rate, and a reload time of 1 second. Plus the rather negligible 5% critical hit chance and 1.5% critical damage multiplier. The base status chance is also fairly low at just 10%. The main place the Talons deviate from the castanas is in their magazine capacity, which is 4 compared to the castanas being just 2. But this added capacity comes at a pretty heavy cost. The Talons' reserve ammo pool is a mere 20. 20! That's 5 full reloads. And as they, like other heavy secondaries, use the sniper ammo pool, this ammo capacity reduction will also affect any bows or sniper rifles you're bringing along too. So do yourself a favour and don't use these with any of the primaries that use sniper ammo. It's even more anti-synergy than a bad limbo player. The Talons also come along with a pair of V polarities in their mod slots by default, just like the castanas. Where things really differentiate themselves, however, is not immediately apparent in the arsenal screen. Primarily, the Talons can have a maximum of 8 charges out at any one time. Once that limit is reached, you won't be able to throw any more until you detonate the charges that you've already placed, using your preferred alternate fire button. Secondly, the Talons also have their own guaranteed status effect, although this guaranteed status effect is puncture rather than electricity. This will reduce enemy damage output by 30% for the duration, which is fairly underwhelming. However, this also leads into point number 3. If you detonate them while they are attached to some surface, either part of the terrain or attached directly to an enemy, it is also guaranteed to ragdoll any enemies caught in the blast radius, and on top of that, deal 250% their normal damage. Testing against a level 50 gunner very quickly, detonating them in mid-air caused hits to register of 1,113 damage, while leaving them stuck somewhere instead dealt over 2,700 damage, and threw her around. So these are definitely more suited to being placed down before you hit the explode button. And finally, compared to their castana siblings, the Talons have about double the blast radius. The Talons will deal their damage and effects to anything within 5 meters of their impact points, while the Castana's blast radius for their immediate effect is about 2 meters. All in all, this leaves the Talons as potentially reasonably potent. However, that blast radius can cause some pretty major problems. The Talon projectiles have a rather large hitbox and, unlike things like the Penta, do not have an entirely consistent launch arc. This can result in them being stuck to things you didn't intend, like a little bit of terrain you thought you were clear of. Then you don't notice what happened, hit the button, and instantly kill yourself because these things do close to 3,000 damage a piece when fully modded. They can end up being a rather major liability. If you're playing with others, you'll have to get them to pick your sorry ass back up, and if you're playing alone, it can result in you burning a whole bunch of revives. Let's just be thankful that Digital Extremes has removed the limited revives per frame per day thing. But there is still the very real possibility of going through all of your 4 to 6 per mission revives and failing out. When modding the Talons, I'm actually going for a relatively non-standard build. Maybe this is the standard build for the Talons, but I mean this doesn't look much like any other build for any other kind of secondary weapon. Number 1, Magnum Force is actually a legitimate option on these things, as the main determining factor of the damage output will be how much damage each charge can dish out, not how many charges you can throw out in X amount of time, since you can only have up to 8 out at once. The deviation of the Talons from their accuracy reduction is also fairly minimal, and any deviation will fall well within their 5-meter blast radius anyway. Keeping that in mind, I have completely omitted Lethal Torrent, and Barrel Diffusion is only rank 4 to give a flat 100% multi-shot. This keeps things nice and predictable. 2 charges each throw, 4 throws per reload, giving a total of 8 charges every time. Strictly speaking, putting it up to max rank isn't likely to cause much of a difference, but this keeps things predictable, so this is what I've gone with. You may also notice I do have pistol ammo mutation. Because of its exceptionally poor reserve ammo pool, you're going to need at least an unranked ammo mutation to keep the Talons going. Because otherwise, as I have already broken down, after 5 reloads you'll already be running empty and you'll need to look around for a sniper ammo drop. So if you want to use the Talons, do yourself a favour and equip pistol ammo mutation. After that, just use whatever elements are appropriate for your intended targets. So the Talons definitely pack a decent punch, but due to their low status chance and reliance on straight damage, they will start running into major problems in endless missions late on. Especially if your team hasn't gone all in with corrosive projection. Especially if you're on your own. Admittedly, I did make it 50 minutes into a Tower 4 survival before things started to become fairly insurmountable, which is better than a lot of weapons do. But the main problem remains. At least the guaranteed ragdoll while stuck to a surface helps. But the biggest problem, by far, is that their larger than average blast radius means they tend to blow your own face off if you happen to look at them slightly funny. Without being extremely careful, you're going to kill yourself immediately. And even then, it might still happen to attach itself to something close to you unexpectedly. They are slightly better than the default castanas, at least if you can make sure they're not a danger to yourself. But the castanas are more forgiving due to their smaller blast radius, and the Sancti castanas have a higher base damage, status chance, critical chance, and comes along with the Purity Syndicate effect as well. However, it should be noted that I'm pretty sure the castanas are currently bugged, and additional charges from multi-shot have a pretty high random deviation from the main perfectly accurate ones. Or it had damn well better be a bug. If this huge accuracy deviation on multi-shot projectiles on the castanas are intentional, I'm going to be rather annoyed. I suppose they did at least fix the issue where nullifiers were completely immune to them while their shields were up, so that's something. Bugs aside, if you can work around their tendency to murder you and the fact that they gut your sniper ammo reserve pool, they're pretty good. If you can't, then you will find nothing but frustration here, and I can't say I'd blame you. Thank you for watching my look at the Talons. All comments are appreciated, and I hope to see you around next time. For more content, you can give a click down below to go check out my look at the Archer frame Avara, or instead my opinions on the Serrata. And as always, good luck, have fun, and take care.